Hi, you're watching the JC Penny podcast.
I'm Jerry LeBlanc.
And I'm Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
By San Diego, we mean. Okay, let's go.
All right, into it. We're back. Episode 8 of the podcast, week 10 wrap up, week 11 predictions, and some trade talk, some posts.
Some ESPN is stupid talk.
The most we'll ever discuss Taysom Hill, I promise you. And postseason picture kind of stuff. So yeah, let's get right into it. Looking at week 10. Oh man. Oh, I did not think I was gonna come out on top against Daryl and Nick.
Yeah. So watching the game and then watching you post, I was like, I'm pretty sure no one else cares.
It was just me.
It was just posting
me.
over and over and over again. I kept seeing it, but I was kind of like, if I'm being honest, like, I wanted you to lose.
Thanks.
So I wasn't saying too much at the time,
That's
but
fair.
I was just kind of like, there was a point in time where you were like still kind of freaking out. And I was like, you won. It's over.
Like
unless it's like a random like
touchdown.
touchdown
It was
to...
the thing is, this was the closest game of the week. It was the one that was going into Monday night. It could have gone either way, and I was just very fortunate to come out on top. One interesting thing that I just wanted to bring up. I'm gonna actually move this over just a little bit. Shoot. All right. Oops. So one thing I just wanted to bring up. I said going into this on the last episode of the podcast when we did the live stream with Daryl, I was very, very concerned about my team's ability to match his point for point. And so what I did was I picked up J.D. McKissick because he had done that, he had gotten so many targets in the backfield with Alex Smith coming into the game.
Good matchup against Detroit.
Great matchup against Detroit. I figured he was going to get targets. He absolutely did. He did enough to keep up with Antonio Gibson, who I think had 2 touchdowns, I'm pretty sure. And it was, I did just enough to get by. Thankfully, my kicker and defense put up 22, but his also put up 26. So
yeah, I mean the big thing that won you this matchup, I feel like, is the flex tight end combo.
Well, and also
Fulgham had his worst game of the year.
Oh yeah.
Not that your tight end had a great day, 5 points, but something we'll get into a little bit later. 10 points out of the tight end's great, and you got 5, which isn't amazing, but when he got 1.6, I'm assuming that was on one catch.
The way Daryl put it was his wide receivers let him down, and it clearly, none of his wide
Allen
receivers.
Robinson and Cooper Kupp only with 7 points,
double
apiece.
digits. Right.
Yeah, three wide receivers getting you a total of 17, 16 points. Like, it's just not going to do it.
Meanwhile, Marvin Jones once again coming through for me when Kenny Galladay's absence, and my bench went off. Cole Beasley 22, Jacoby Myers solid with 13, and Salvon Ahmed, who I added at 3:55 before the Dolphins played at the 4:00 game, and comes through and looks like maybe the bell cow back in Miami.
So Matt Breida's been out.
He has.
Breida's back this week.
Breida's back this week. Gaskin's still got one more week on IR. But there's all the reports out of Miami, Armando Salguero and all the guys in the Miami Herald are saying Ahmed might end up being the guy.
He definitely could be.
He looked good. So I want more out of Tua. And my quarterback committee still sucks, major ass.
Yeah,
but
it's not great.
But I'll take it. And I can't trade you for a quarterback well, I could, but it would not do me as good to trade you for a quarterback anymore because you traded one of your 2 assets this week.
Yeah.
But you got another asset in quarterback, so maybe we can still work out something for Aaron Rodgers.
It was. If you really want to try and work something out, we might be able to do that. But
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Maybe today. Moving on. Brad's nightmare just continues. He's still alive.
I barely.
Right.
I tried to make a trade with him this week, and he's like, I'm not selling my team for parts. It was a whole thing. He kind of gave me a spiel about how, there's nothing on my team that could make his team better, which is weird when he's getting, 6 combined points out of his running backs right now. Joe Mixon also goes on the IR. His bad luck with that just continues.
That's been such a huge. I have him in another league, and it's so sad.
If I had known, obviously no one knew. It was like Mixon is going to be out a week and then have the bye and he'll be back. Which is why when I picked up Giovanni Bernard, I immediately traded him away to lock up Tony Pollard to lock up Zeke's handcuff. And he just keeps playing. Mixon just will not come back, and he just went at least 3 weeks, which means he's not back until at least 14?
At this
11,
point.
12, yeah, so at least week 14, which are they going to bring him back?
Is Brad going to make the playoffs for that to be relevant?
No, Brad's not going to make the playoffs, but the Sacco is in week 15. it matters.
Maybe he'll help Brad avoid the sack out.
Maybe, but again, do you think that they're going to rush Joe Mixon back in Week 14 when they're
in a non-postseason
when they're 4 and 10
team? No.
Yeah, like I don't think Joe Mixon's going to be back this season.
No, I mean Brad put up less than 70. Obviously, terrible day. No running back production, like you said, and also it never helps when your defense goes -7.
Jesus. I mean, also Malcolm Brown with 18 points on the bench, though. It's one of those spots where like none of his running backs are like so definitive that you have to. Well, in theory, Todd Gurley coming back, he'll definitely be starting Todd Gurley.
Sure,
for sure. I think Irv Smith was hurt this week too, so like in his tight end spot, which I mean, again, 5.3 points, like 5.2 points out of Darren Waller. Tight end points are hard to fucking come by. This might be a recurring theme. Let's see what else happens.
I should name the episode this. Meanwhile, for McMillan, the rich get richer. It helps when you have Patrick Mahomes on bye, Julio Jones on bye, and you can still put up over 120.
I mean, Ben Roethlisberger had, I think, his best game of the year. Alvin Kamara's just been a fucking stud. DeAndre Swift comes out of nowhere, but then he gets hurt. It's like 23 points, and now he's out. Like,
I wish I hadn't dropped Adrian Peterson sometimes.
It's a good problem to have. I was actually kind of going through everybody's like strength of schedule, essentially seeing what everybody would do against everyone else, and I have to admit, I have to give McMillan more credit. If he's what 6-4. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it was. If he had 7 of the other 9 schedules, he'd be at least 8-2.
And that's the thing.
It's crazy.
I have said from the jump, he drafted a good team. He has played I'm not even going to say, the best season McMillan has ever had in 12 years.
I mean, he's won a title.
This is a better team than when he won the title.
I don't know about that.
It is.
Maybe it is. I'm saying I don't know if
it's a scary team.
The craziest thing right now, though, is that he is 6-4 right now. Who has the worst schedule this year? I'm second, but Jason.
Really?
Jason has the.
Right.
Jason has the toughest schedule for sure.
Award.
Guess what McMillan's record would be if he had Jason's schedule?
What would it be?
5-5.
That's insane.
He'd still be right there.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure the next closest person was like 4-6 or 3-7. I know I would have been 3-7. I don't remember what everybody's was, but yeah, like McMillan's, like I said, I haven't given his team a ton of credit. I haven't looked too closely at his team for a lot of the year. Julio Jones has been hurt for parts of the year too. Like, his team is just fucking going out there and producing.
That's window, right?
Yeah. Like I said, I definitely don't. Like I said, I didn't do the second trimester grades, but I don't remember exactly what I gave him in the first round of it. But like, no, his team has just been fucking solid. He's putting up obviously top 5 every week, if not higher than that.
Moral of the story, Jason Smith. Jason McMillan's 5-5, even with your schedule. No excuses. Do better. Yeah. And speaking of Jason Smith,
yeah, I'm pretty sure Zach would be 4-6 if he had Jason's schedule.
1-9.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Obviously, his team didn't come out like the. Also, this was just kind of a weirdly low. Like, obviously, we just went through the three highest. I can't talk right now. The 3 highest scorers in the last 2 games. Mm-hmm. The rest of the way here, it's like I'm the highest with 101 points. It was just a really low-scoring week.
I was surprised to be the second highest scorer at 117. I mean, this is a matchup where
117's solid.
But not second highest in scoring.
I'm more surprised that I'm 4th with 100.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing too. You left points on your bench. Not that you. I mean, not that like. I mean, it's tough. You can't
Wilson,
against
Aaron
the Rams, who are a porous pass defense. Aaron Rodgers against Jacksonville, both great matchups.
I thought about pulling the trigger on Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the Rams' pass defense isn't terrible. It's not bad. It's definitely not bad. I don't know exactly where they rank, but they're definitely not bad. The bigger thing was like Aaron Rodgers. Like, I thought about it, but I every time I try and switch it out like that, it bites me in the ass. I get fucked on it, and it's like, no, I'm not going to bench my studs. And this is another one of those scenarios where I'm like, I need to trade one of these fucking guys away.
Any word on Austin Eckler yet?
Austin Eckler will be back next week, week 12.
Okay, there you go.
Supposedly week 12 he is coming back.
Because that was the one big weakness on your team was that RB2 spot where you could plug in.
It doesn't help. Like, Zeke's on a bye.
Right. But then Zeke is gone now, and we'll talk about that in a little bit.
We'll talk.
Interesting that a trade occurs between 2 teams who are opponent, like the week after they play each other.
So part of the thing is Jason and I hung out while the games were going on. We talked about stuff. We said, hey, we'll work it out after this week, and
there it goes.
We worked it out after this week.
So that brings us to Jason Smith's nightmare of a season. Obviously,
just like 2 points out of Curtis Samuel, 2 points out of Evan Ingram,
less than 5 out of Melvin Gordon again.
I got 8.6 out of Logan Thomas, and I was thrilled.
And he really doesn't have I mean, other than Tom Brady, he really doesn't have a whole
It just seems
lot
like
on
Jason
his
just
bench.
can't pick the right quarterback.
Windows sent us a GIF.
It's a GIF.
It's a GIF. High five.
It's a GIF.
Graphical user interface.
Yeah, graphic, hard G, GIF. We know.
The creator calls it GIF.
But yeah, just 16 points out of his 2 starting running backs.
The good news for Jason Smith, you have the best kicker in fantasy. Keep it up.
He does. But yeah, no, he benches Tom Brady this week, and what does he do? He drops 32 points. Like, he just comes out and it's crazy.
He has no production on his bench. His team is just a hot dumpster fire. He has no one that's like.
It's just so many people. Like, if you knew going into the year you were gonna have Amari Cooper, Mark Ingram, and Jarvis Landry on your bench,
yeah,
like you thought that'd be good, and it's just like no, none of them are.
No one on his team is producing.
Are any of those 3 guys even top 25 at their position?
We can check really quick.
You should have just clicked on them.
I was just gonna really quick.
Amari Cooper. Actually, Amari Cooper's 21. Wow, higher than I thought.
Jarvis Landry, 52.
52 at a jar. And with OBJ gone, it's just like, I don't get it.
It's crazy. Hi, Ruby. That brings us to matchup number 4. Ruby's hanging out with Jerry. Zach and Alex.
Zach just gets to play against a sub 100 week every week.
I mean, to be fair, you played against sub 100 this week.
This is like the first time all fucking season, bro. Like I said, Zach's schedule gets like significantly worse if he had anybody else's schedule.
Yeah.
Or sorry, his record gets significantly worse if he plays anybody else's schedule. Like,
right.
I think he's 6-4 if he has my schedule. Like.
Yeah. I mean, Zach definitely has benefited from the soft
he's
schedule.
He's still clearly one of those top.
Good team.
No, yeah, he's definitely still. I mean.
And I'm pretty sure
he's obviously better. His team has produced. I'm not saying. Okay, I'm gonna use my words carefully here.
I believe in you.
His team has produced better than I would have anticipated going into the season. Obviously, he's 9-1. Can't argue with that. I think you guys kind of gave him an A in the ranking. I struggle to give him an A when it's like, again, if he has my schedule, he's 6-4. He's not getting an A. If he has anybody's schedule but his or yours, by the way, because I'm pretty sure it's your schedule, he would also be
I'm pretty light.
I'm pretty sure he would also be 9-1. But it's like most schedule. Again, if he had Jason's schedule and he was 3-7, is he getting an A?
No.
Like,
I get it, but here's the thing.
Like, obviously,
yes,
you have to
he's
beat
benefited from good matchups.
You have to beat who's in front of you.
Right. He has, and he's also like he's a team. Again, do you want to face this team in the postseason? Not really.
I don't. Like I said,
I fear McMillan
much more worried
more.
about McMillan than his.
I fear McMillan more, but I feel like this is kind of his floor. Like Josh Allen is one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy this year. Josh Jacobs has been an RB1. Kareem Hunt, yes, Nick Chubb is coming back into the fold, but that actually, I think, what we saw early in the year, that benefited both of them.
I think this is a situation where Zach's team, and it's helped him a lot that his schedule has worked out pretty well for him, but he's so boom or bust. Josh Allen, 1 week it's 27, 1 week it's 15. Okay, Josh Jacobs, 1 week it's 8, 1 week it's 28.
Right.
Like, I mean, he had a good stretch at the beginning, then 16,
then he fell
15,
off
15,
from
12,
5,
then 36,
5 to 8.
Like 26.
Right.
Like, it's boomer bust there. Josh Jacobs is boomer bust. DK Metcalf, 3.8 points last week. I think he had 12.5 on Thursday night. Like,
but that's the beauty of a boomer bust team is he only had 2 players boom this week and he put up 100.
But yeah, but that's just it. Normally 100's not good enough to win.
Normally it's not.
Normally it's not. And that's my big thing right now is with this team is like it's so much boomer bust that he could go out there and drop an 80-point week first week of the playoffs. That's why the bye is going to be really helpful for him. But like,
meanwhile,
that's why him playing against less than 100 points every single week has benefited him so much because. Oh, he gets a win with 104. Oh, he gets a win with 99.
Well, the frustrating thing here for Alex, anyway, is that I think he's at like 1 or 2 roster moves from winning this matchup. But he benches Ronald Jones, who puts up 24. He benches DJ Moore, who puts up 17.
It doesn't help him either that he tried to make a trade with me this week. He sent me this trade offer, and I looked at it at first, and I was like, in principle, like if you offered me this trade in week 3 when Le'Veon Bell was on IR, I'd have taken it. But you can't trust Le'Veon Bell to do anything right now. No. He wanted Aaron Rodgers for Le'Veon Bell and Hunter Henry. And
it benefits your tight end situation, obviously.
Guess what? His quarterback, Matt Ryan, on a bye this week. He had to plug and play. What does he do with his plug and play? 7 points.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's one of those things like if Le'Veon Bell was actually doing anything, because what has Le'Veon Bell done since he's been in Kansas City?
Nothing.
It's
still CEH's job.
Yeah, and CEH there was talks he might not play this week, but now supposedly he was back at practice, so maybe he is. Yeah. It's just like...
I mean, Alex.
Of course, I could have used Hunter Henry's 11 points out of a tight end spot this week.
I feel like the Sacco Bowl is likely to be Brad, Alex, Jason Smith, and
James,
one more
James
name, probably James
at this point. So also
Barring something
just
crazy.
real quick, just to keep the running theme going, their tight ends combined for 8.5 points. Tight end points are. I'm sorry. Was I wrong about that? Can you click back? Did I misread that? Or was I off? Yeah, I'm sorry. They combined for
7.
6.
Yeah, you're right. 6. Sorry.
6 points combined for their 2 tight ends.
Yeah, but he had 11 points for tight end on his bench. Just saying.
No, and again, 11 points. It's oh my god, that's amazing out of a tight end.
I mean, we're gonna have at least one better tight end in this matchup.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to help James get a win he desperately needed.
Yeah, 64. Like everybody just did.
This week was. Listen, let me just really quick just recap how good this week was for my playoff chances. I win to tie up Daryl and Nick at 6 and 4. Brad loses to give me a 2-game cushion. You won, which again kept you in it. That was the worst matchup that I got. Zach beats Alex, so he's dead on arrival.
He's out of it.
And James was the big one who loses and drops to 4 and 6. Window moves up to 7 and 3. I'm not. I mean, like, would a bye be nice?
A bye would be
sure,
better for you,
but like, I have a playoff cushion now.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty likely to get into the playoffs at this point.
I feel like it's win. Like, what is it? Win, I'm probably in. Win 2, and I am in.
So, well, I'll say this. Here's how quickly it can change for you, though. If you lose this week and I win this week, we play each other next week.
And, well, and here's the thing.
That could be big.
I'm playing James this week, and he actually is projected to win right now because he had a good performance out of Carlos Hyde.
Yeah. So, yeah, Window really benefited from Dalvin Cook, not dropping 40.
Mm-hmm. It was bound to happen eventually.
Yeah, I mean, he had to start Duke Johnson. I mean, I don't know. Do we ever actually make a bet about David Johnson because he's hurt right now? But I know he was still in that flex.
He was
range when
in
he
like
got hurt.
he was in the.
I don't remember
right
if we
at
actually
the
made a bet.
borderline. I thought when he got hurt. I don't think we made a bet on it, but I was shit talking him obviously. I'll tell you this. So I dropped a shitload of money on the J.D. McKissick move. I blew probably the majority of my remaining budget. I also had a backup bet or a backup bid on Duke Johnson for like a third of the cost, which was still about a fifth of my budget. Because I actually thought, maybe, this seems like a situation where he might have relevance the rest of the year. Unfortunately, he could not get the job done at all, 5.4 points. James really didn't have a lot left in the tank. Yeah, Justin Jefferson on his bench, but his team is just kind of... I mean, aside from Dalvin Cook, it's kind of soft. And that's what I said, I think, the last 2 weeks. He was...
Chris Carson might be back next week, I think.
Well, no, so
It's
no.
He obviously wasn't back this week.
It was Thursday.
I think it's next week he might be back.
Yeah, next week he'll be back. This week he was out, but James did have Carlos Hyde and played him to the tune of 16 or so points.
He didn't have a bad day.
Meanwhile, Window...
So, the bad luck with Christian McCaffrey continues.
Right.
Mike Davis obviously played really well for a while there, but 6 4-point points now. Like, that's not a good week. And who knows? Like, is Christian McCaffrey, is he back on the IR? Is he out for 3 weeks? Like...
The biggest play Window made was, and granted, he's playing someone against who had the fewest points in the league, 64 points. Yeah. Like, you're gonna win. He was
gonna get a win, obviously.
But like, for T Higgins, like, which
team's looking not great there, yeah.
But for T Higgins, he's at like 65. He barely wins in a matchup where his opponent puts up 64. Like, this is a 7-3 team.
Yeah, if he had started, who was the next on his list that he could have started? Probably Rager for 6.5 points.
Yeah.
So yeah, like take away 13, it feels a little tight.
Yeah. and he's putting up like 70s or like 60s,
low 70s.
Troublesome.
So real quick, just to round it all out, Window gets 3.5 out of his tight
I
end.
knew it was fucking coming.
Mark Andrews had a great week for tight ends, 9.5 points. Weird.
Let's really quick. Where's the is it transaction? Not transaction counter. I want the
history right there.
No, it's
what are you looking for? Recent activity?
Yeah, there it is. I wanted to see the trade. Here it is. So the trade, the big. This is actually probably one of the biggest blockbuster trades we've had, aside from I think who was it? Did Alex make one?
Alex and Window, that's actually what I was about to talk about. With like Window got nothing out of Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Like it's Window's still like, I mean,
that could blow up in his face.
It's looking like that trade ain't working out for him, and
it's early.
It looked really nice to have. I would have pulled the trigger. Can you actually pull back on Window's page really quick just to see his?
Do you want to see his team?
Yeah, just to see his team really quick.
All right. 1 herb and 8 spices.
But yeah, he traded like for Kenyon Drake. Like, Kenyon Drake had an okay week this week, but like it was like the combo of Kenyon Drake and Chase Edmonds, and then Michael Thomas. And is Michael Thomas ever gonna like? And now Drew Brees is out.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
For at least 3 weeks.
IR.
Like, I don't know if Michael Thomas's value goes way up.
And his budget is pretty low to compensate for that. I think most people's budgets are at this point in the year, but like, I mean, I'm at 200. Like, you're at 68.
I'm pretty low.
Windows at 194. But like, wow, there's like some people with $700 in their budget. No wonder Jason Smith's 1-9. All right. So yeah, not a great trade there. But speaking of trades, big blockbuster trade between you and Jason Smith, and it looks on paper like really like even.
It's
like,
pretty even.
I don't see a clear winner, honestly.
I took a big gamble.
Yeah.
On whether or not I'm making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because, excuse me, Jason needs points now.
Right.
He's not getting points out of Evan Ingram. He's going to get it out of. I mean, it's kind of a. Obviously, there's some risk. Obviously, Ezekiel
Evan Ingram
is the big downgrade in all of this.
Yes.
Lamar Jackson obviously not performing to what he had hoped for. Obviously, out of a second-round pick. But the big thing here is like Zeke obviously carries a good amount of risk. He's not been the same since Dak has been out. The offensive line got hurt. Everything's been kind of weird with that. The big piece obviously is Aaron Jones.
Oh yeah.
Aaron Jones has a really good playoff schedule, and I'm taking a big gamble on I'm going to get to the playoffs.
And Aaron Jones
is going to do some work.
Yeah.
I also was looking at my situation. I'm like, I've got Adam Thielen, I've got Keenan Allen, I've got Calvin Ridley. I've got Chase Claypool, I've got Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown has, like, I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have arguably the best schedule for wide receivers in the playoffs. Like, I'm like, I need to move something. I also still had the split between Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. Like, I think my team gets worse for the next 3 weeks.
But
it gets better
after that. And you have,
six.
like you said, you've just become a boomer bust team. But if you boom, there's not going to be a lot of teams that can beat you with Lamar Jackson and Aaron Jones if they go off.
So, yeah, and I think I'll mostly be starting Aaron Rodgers. But this week, I'm going to start Lamar Jackson. Like, yeah, well, that's part of the thing is this is going back to the next 2 weeks, or the next 2-3 weeks going into the regular season, or ending the regular season. Aaron Rodgers this week plays Indianapolis, number 1 against quarterbacks in fantasy football. Next week he plays the Chicago Bears, number 2 against quarterbacks. Tough. It's like, that's why I'm like, okay, maybe Lamar Jackson will look okay this week against the 27th ranked against quarterbacks.
And if he does go off, all of a sudden maybe you have more confidence in him to use him later on in the year.
Like I said, I think it hurts me for the next 3 weeks. I'm taking the gamble on I'll still get into the playoffs.
Well,
it might end up fucking me, and I might not make the playoffs.
Jason Smith's still taking some gambles here too. Like you said, Zeke hasn't been. Zeke's
got to be better than he was.
But he's been terrible ever since Dak went out. If you look, I say it week in and week out.
The volume is there. The touchdowns haven't. That's not really what.
The volume is there, but
2018.
He hasn't scored a touchdown. You're right that he hasn't scored a touchdown since Dak's been out.
2018, 20, and 20. Like, no, the touches are there. He'll eventually fall into the end zone. Like, it doesn't help. He also played against Washington.
Dallas is bad.
Washington's defense is better than people give it credit for. Pittsburgh's is one of the best defenses in the league.
Arizona's not great.
What? Arizona was the game that Dak got hurt, and he also fumbled twice.
Was that the Giants game? Was the game he got hurt?
That was the Arizona game. That was where he had the 2 fumbles and two rushes.
Okay.
Like, that was a weird play. He then sat for a bit for Tony Pollard. Like, the Arizona game's the anomaly. That's where Dak got hurt.
All right.
The next 3 weeks are the problem. Again, he's getting 20 touches a game. He just hasn't found the end zone. Also, the team looked a lot better with Garrett Gilbert at quarterback.
Let's really quick. Do you want to talk about Do you want to talk about the pink elephant in the room, or do you want to talk about the playoff picture?
I mean, like, let's.
Pink elephant it is. So Taysom Hill, welcome to the podcast, Taysom Hill. We've always wanted to talk about you. So I abstained from the vote, and I was kind of on the fence, leaning, I guess. Leaning no, but like I was on the fence the whole way through because I have massive heartburn with editing ESPN settings generally, even though we do it for like the wild card. We do it for other things. But I feel like I always
ESPN standards full point PPR.
As a lawyer, like I always feel like whenever you create a new precedent, you risk opening Pandora's box of like, oh, if we're designating players at certain positions, is it something where it's likely to happen again? In this situation, I think it's extremely unlikely. But like you said, like the last time it happened was like 2009.
I think it was 2008 or 2009 when it was something Webb, I think was his name.
Yeah.
That was a wide receiver who started at quarterback.
But I obviously understand also, like you've been saying, this is a position where the disparity between you're talking, and I mentioned this I think in one of my first posts when this discussion broke out. It's one of the lowest scoring positions. Having a player that's eligible to play in one of the lowest scoring positions on your roster, who can score one of the average one of the highest scores at quarterback. Now I'm not saying Taysom Hill will, but that's quarterbacks generally, like you said, a quarterback who drops 15, you're pissed off. A tight end who drops 15, you're ecstatic.
Yeah. What was it? I think this week one tight end went over 10 points.
Yeah. The only thing that I'll also say is, again, and this is the lawyer in me, I feel like there is an argument that even though ESPN really and again ESPN is the problem here, because they said two different things at the 2020, and I was the one who found that screenshot of the 2020 Outlook where it said if his eligibility, if he starts if he's the Saints starting quarterback,
if at any point he is listed as the starter,
then
if at any point
he is listed as starter, we will change his we will remove his tight end flex eligibility, because obviously they understand this exploit. But I think maybe Sean Payton fucked fantasy owners because they didn't actually list him as the starter, even though all signs. There's no doubt.
As of Wednesday morning, it was common knowledge.
Yeah,
he was going to be the starter.
And Sean Payton's even said we know who the starter is, but they haven't said anything officially. So it's again, maybe that's ESPN's
Adam
excuse.
Schefter's never wrong.
I get it. Maybe that's ESPN's excuse, but either way, the other thing that's important is ESPN said on that Monday projection, we're going to let him be eligible to be a tight end or flex. And
it said he's keeping it until the status becomes more clear.
Right.
The status has become more clear, but they're just like, oh, well, we can't change it league-wide now, so, oh, well.
Let me see it here. So,
correct me if I'm wrong on the wording of that.
Here's what it says. Fantasy managers should take note that ESPN Fantasy has made the decision to allow Hill to be eligible at quarterback in addition to his prior tight end eligibility for Week 11, with future modifications possible should his playing situation become more clear going forward. So to me, even though that's stupid, it reads that he's going to be tight end eligible Week 11, and they even say it could take advantage of his tight end eligibility as an upside play, especially if he ultimately sees a lot of time taking snaps as the team's quarterback. That puts the league on notice. Like I said in my post, in my book, it toes the line between savvy and scummy. It's a Bill Belichick move, what I see this as. It's a Bill Belichick move of Spygate. Which, I guess it's a bad analogy because that did break the rules.
Spygate specifically broke the rules.
Right.
Tom
So maybe not.
They lost draft picks, I'm pretty sure. They were fine.
All right, so maybe not Spygate or Deflategate, but it's that it toes that line between savvy and scummy, and if they post this, it's the most recent thing they posted. It puts us on notice. But my spirit of fair play says this shouldn't happen because it is an exploit. It's a glitch in the system. It's something that is giving a huge benefit.
And it just, the biggest reason why this doesn't make any sense is that every other platform has taken away the tight end eligibility.
I thought there was maybe FanDuel was the only other one.
I thought they had also changed it, but FanDuel
doesn't matter.
They do dailies. They do dailies.
Right.
It's not Yahoo, CBS Sports.
Right.
I don't even know other ones that people fucking play on.
And this is an issue.
But the internet consensus is, yeah, ESPN's the only one letting this happen.
This is an issue that is being discussed in fantasy leagues nationwide. I'm in. Obviously, we're all in, not all, but some of us are in other leagues. I am. And my fraternity league is this exact issue came up. I didn't even know it was an issue until it came up in that league. So I think it's a closer issue than anyone is giving it credit for. That's why I abstained, and I trust that the majority of the league is gonna figure this out. And I'm like I said from the jump, my big thing is commissioners. I want league integrity. For 12 years we've focused on making this league as fair, straightforward, and open and transparent as possible, and I want it to stay that way. So that's my 2 cents on it. The microphone is yours, my friend.
I feel like I've spoken my piece. I think it goes against the spirit of the way we're supposed to play the game. That's kind of my intent. I wouldn't do it.
Well, one of the things you said is you looked at it on Monday.
I saw it on Monday.
Right.
And when I read it as the expectation was, oh yeah, if he starts, they're gonna take away the tight end eligibility, obviously.
Right.
Which is why, like, I'm like, I'm never starting him at quarterback. I wouldn't start him at tight end with the expectation of hoping that he would play quarterback, because I feel like that goes against what we want here.
Right.
Obviously, the majority of the league thinks that it's okay at this point, which, like I said, blows my fucking mind. Like, but I had multiple people not like straight up say, like, well, if you could have done it, you would. I could have done it. I didn't. I wouldn't. I'm saying now I would not make the decision to do that. Maybe you don't believe me. If you don't, fuck off. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. Like, I don't want somebody looking at me like I'm taking the moral low ground right now because, oh, well, obviously it's just because it hurts you. Like, no. If this was happening to you, Sean, I'd be making the same argument for you.
Right. And
if it was happening to McMillan,
I'd
be making the same argument for him.
What's shitty about this is it's a situation that came up during the middle of the season.
McMillan just made a comment that's not 100% true. That's fake news. Window, don't believe him.
The tight end tag stays?
We don't know that yet.
We're
waiting for the votes to come in for whether or not it's flex or tight end.
Should I look up the vote on the...
The last I saw, there was only one vote. It was Window, and he had abstained.
I'm going to go to Facebook right now, and I'm going to see if I can't find the vote and put it on the league page. Oh, yeah, I can just do this. Shortcuts.
Yeah. Well, I can just tell you. Right now, it's currently at a 1-1 for abstain and flex only. Jason
Smith voting for flex only. Okay. So, obviously, if you're watching the podcast, please vote in the poll. Anyway, that's kind of what we'll say about the Taysom Hill thing. Please vote in the poll.
Also, now that we are past the point of this, it's at 5 votes to 3, I believe, was what it finished out at, right? All right, Daryl, I'll put my money where my fucking mouth is. I'll switch my vote to abstain. $100 bet. Let me know. Let's move on.
Gauntlet thrown. All right, so moving on to the playoff picture, because we do need to talk about that before we get into those, give those week 11 predictions some context. Right now, Zach has... I think he's officially punched his ticket. I don't think there's any way he can miss the playoffs.
There's no way he misses the playoffs.
And I think he's also locked up a first-round bye.
Obviously, I'm currently in 6th and I'm 5 games back. He's in the playoffs.
I don't think there's a way also that he doesn't get a first-round bye because
it would be a combination of losing 3 straight while somebody wins 3 straight plus points differentials.
2 people win. Or someone wins 3 straight. Window has to at least win 2 straight, or 2 people have to win 3 straight. Like, it's not going to happen. He's going to get a first-round bye.
It's almost certain at this point.
Right. Then there is that, and I think Zach did a really good write-up. If you haven't seen it, go on the league page. It's a really good write-up of where everything is. And there's kind of that second tier, which is Window, McMillan, myself, and Daryl at the 7-3, 6-4 spots, which is like the teams most likely to make the playoffs. And we're all kind of fighting for a first-round bye. Window obviously right now has the inside track, not only because he's second in total points scored, but also because he has a game up on everybody.
Yeah.
But there's still 3 weeks left to play. Anything can happen. McMillan obviously has a kind of the second track on the inside, and those two are the primary favorites for this because McMillan leading the league in points scored.
Yeah.
After that, it's myself and then Daryl, and the difference there. I mean, we're so far back that it's going to take Window and McMillan falling apart for either of us to even have the conversation about it. So really, if you want to talk about tier 2, the teams that are really going to be playing for that bye in all likelihood, it's probably McMillan and Window unless they really fall apart and either Daryl or I go on a hot streak. Then you have Daryl and I, obviously 6-4, 2 games cushion out of the kind of the mire of the wild card standings. But we also, in points scored, we're both below you. I think about 60 below you. He's about 90 below you. So there's still a lot left to be determined with 3 weeks left in the season. You obviously have the major inside track for the wild card by the tune of about 80 points right now.
For now.
But again, that's 80 points. That's 30 points. Obviously we've seen major disparities.
Yeah, it can happen.
Yeah.
I mean, we all remember what happened to me the first year we ever did the wild card.
Right.
So I do not feel comfortable with this. I am hoping for a win this week, and I'm hoping for a couple of losses out of the 6-4 crew so that I can sneak back into the top 5 and not have to worry about it.
Well, and I'd say of the teams that are the 7 to 10 spots, the one that really has a legitimate chance to make the playoffs is maybe James, because I don't see a way that Brad, Alex, or Jason.
But even James is, again, 80 points back on me.
He's 80 points back, but like I said, one big week. If he puts up 140, you put up like 80 or 90, like all of a sudden that lead is like 20 or 30. Like it's a one game swing, and there's 3 games. The thing is, there's 3 games left to play. Yeah. That's why he's still alive.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong. Is the trade deadline passed at this point now?
No, I think there is still. I think it's this coming.
Is it coming
week.
Friday?
Like this coming Wednesday, I'm pretty sure. After these,
I know it's a Friday. I know it's on a Friday.
Okay, so it's I think it's this.
So
week Friday.
I mean, I feel like it makes more sense for it to be a Wednesday because that's kind of when
like
things kind of clear.
Yeah.
I think in the past what happened was it all of a sudden hit, and we were like, oh, by the way, the trade deadline's in an hour, so we extended it a couple of days.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to adjust it at all. I mean, a Friday. I mean, like I said, I feel like Wednesday makes more sense just because that Thursday game.
I'm not going to adjust anything in terms of the settings, so let's.
I'm not saying we need to adjust it at all. I was just saying like the fact that it's a Friday. I feel like it makes more sense to happen before that Thursday week because it just feels a little weird to be able to like.
Right.
You know.
Let me just see. Hold on. Edit league. I'll just go to Edit League.
Not that it drastically matters.
The trade deadline is November 27th.
Yeah.
So
Friday.
Yeah. All right.
Friday at 3 a.m. So pretty much Thursday night.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, anyone listening to the podcast, you'll know for sure.
I got to tell you, we have been doing a great job so far. 36 minutes. We've done recaps, postseason picture. We've done trade talk. We talked about Taysom Hill. He's watching the podcast right now. Very impressed with how much we talked about him.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Week 12 matchups and get out of here. So, Week 11 matchups. Excuse me. Obviously, these are huge. Like, at this point, the postseason picture is going to really be clear, much more clear after this week, I think. Maybe.
This is going to be the first time all season that I'm rooting for Zach's team.
Because of Daryl and Nick.
Yeah, no, he sits at 6-4. I want them to drop down. If I'm within a game of them going into next week, like
I would say there are probably all but one of these matchups have playoff implications. Obviously one of the biggest ones being if James is going to make the playoffs, his best chance is to win this week.
Yeah, if he's going to make it, he needs to beat you this week.
Right.
He doesn't have the points.
He's in trouble with the points.
And again, James, I'm rooting for you.
Eat a dick.
You can do it. I believe in you. No, you
can't.
I believe in you.
Well, here's the thing about James. He has the inside track right now because, again, Carlos Hyde, I was pissed off watching Thursday night. Carlos Hyde goes and drops 16.5 as the fill-in for Chris Carson, who is still injured.
You know what I would love more than anything is everybody who is 6-4 right now loses their next 3. I win my next 3. I'm in there at like the 3rd spot. Like, actually, can I catch window? Is it possible for me to actually get the bye? What is he?
He's 7-3.
I'm 4-6. It's possible. It's possible. I'll run the math of it later. I'll go through the whole schedule, see if there's a way. But if it happens, like,
I think the problem is McMillan and Window do play in Week 13, which is going to be a great matchup to watch. Okay. So here's so this matchup, obviously.
Yeah, that'll be a big one.
It's going to be huge. He benefited from a good matchup from Carlos Hyde, and the only thing that really scares me is Dalvin fucking Cook against Dallas.
Their defense is so bad.
I know. Meanwhile, I have Derrick Henry going up against Baltimore's defense. My matchups aren't great. I think Kenny Galladay is probably going to end up. Actually, I should probably. I'm going to edit my roster really quick. He also has
Justin Jefferson going up against Dallas as well.
Galladay's out, which means guess who comes back in? Marvin Jones, easy peasy.
Gonna start Jacoby Myers.
For now, I'm debating. Here's the thing about this. One of the few frustrating things about my bench being as good as they were last week is it makes it difficult to figure out who to start this week. There are legitimate cases.
I mean, you said it going into the year. You don't want decisions.
I don't.
You want set it and forget it, and you don't even have to think about it.
And the thing is,
I like how you got Devontae Adams relegating him to the flex, though.
Well, it's because he plays the latest, I think.
Just kidding.
Dick. So I think, Jonathan, fuck Indianapolis running backs. Fuck all of them. I don't want to touch them.
Don't gotta tell me. I said that in preseason.
Brandon Ayuk has been like it's usually been him that I put at my flex spot. Like he's my third wide receiver, but he's on a bye this week. Cole Beasley
I don't know. I think that you need to take a risk right now. I think you need to start.
You're appealing to my homer.
Yeah, I think you need to. I mean, how are you starting him over a backup? We're not starting him over a backup.
Ahmed could find his way into my lineup, and if he does, it'll be Adams at the wide receiver 2.
And you'll
Ahmed
only
at
have
the
the
flex.
Miami Dolphins to blame if you don't make the playoffs.
I know, that's the problem. I'm starting to believe in them too much. They've won 5 in a row. 5 in a row. Do you know this is the best start Miami's had since 2001? 6-3. They've won 5 straight. I can't not believe in them. I have their quarterback, their tight end, their wide receiver on my IR,
the funny
and
thing is,
their
you know what
running
I'm
back.
also kind of hoping for at this point? I wouldn't even be mad if they win the division.
Yeah.
I'm actually rooting for it because that would nullify our slap bet.
Would it? Why?
Because you bet on the Bills and I bet on the Patriots.
Oh, gee.
That's what it was.
That's
So
right.
if the Dolphins win it, neither one of us win.
Wow, go figure.
So
You're rooting for my Dolphins. It's so sweet.
I mean, at this point, like, Patriots got a big win last week.
Okay, they're not winning the division.
They're 2 games back.
They're not winning the division.
I think they're 2.5 back.
They're 2.5 back from 2 teams that are both
Yeah.
arguably better than them.
But they're not out of it. That's the whole point.
Who you got in this matchup?
So obviously the good start by Carlos Hyde matters.
Yes, it does.
His wide receivers don't have, like, A.J. Brown and Chris Godwin don't have great matchups. Justin Jefferson has a good matchup. Dalvin Cook could just go out there and drop fucking 40 and your week's over. Like,
Yeah.
Devontae Adams has a really tough matchup with Indianapolis.
I don't have a lot of good matchups this week, but I didn't. But I also will say this: I didn't have a lot of good matchups last week.
I think I'm gonna lean James. It's close though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. This is going to be a very close game. I think. I don't love that I have to start someone on my bench. I don't love that Kenny Galladay is still fucking out. I don't want to pick James. I want to believe in myself. He has Gio Bernard on his bench too, and Duke Johnson too.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that he would start Giovanni Bernard, but at this point, now that Carlos Hyde had such a good week,
I'm picking James. Fuck me, because that's fitting. Like, of course, I finally get to 6-4. I finally am safe, and then James is gonna come back in. He's gonna be 5-6. I'm gonna be 6-5, and then all of a sudden I'm gonna be in, and you're gonna win, and I'm gonna be in fucking shit city. That's what's gonna happen. So, another game with only playoff match implications for one of the 2 players. And do we need to spend a lot of time on this game?
So Jason's team, like, it's not about wins and losses anymore. It's about points.
Right?
It's all about points.
Yeah, he's 1-9. Of course, it's not about wins and losses.
Yeah.
He's lost 9 and 10.
Like, it's not about wins and losses anymore. It's about points. So it doesn't matter if McMillan for Jason it doesn't matter if McMillan drops 500. If Jason can put up 150, it's a win for him this week. So, I haven't looked too closely at the matchup yet. Let me take a look here. Ooh, Alvin Kamara against Atlanta. James Conner against Jacksonville.
I mean, McMillan's winning this matchup. There's not, it's not close.
Maybe Ezekiel Elliott finally comes out of nowhere, but Adam Thielen against Dallas, he could have a big game.
That's one good matchup.
That's one good matchup. I mean, Curtis Samuel against Detroit.
Russell Wilson put up 20.
Curtis Samuel against Detroit's still a good matchup. Like, Russell Wilson 20 is, again, it's not bad.
For Russell Wilson, it's a little disappointing.
I mean, it's not as bad as fucking last week when I started and we got 10.
Fair enough.
But look what he's doing with the defense.
I'm so proud of him. Finally starting the Dolphins defense after, like, here's the thing. I wanted them, and the week he got them was after their performance against San Francisco, right?
Number 4 ranked defense.
No,
man.
let me tell you something. After this week 5 matchup where they got 12, I said, hey, I want them. He sniped me by like $7. I bring it up every week. I
thought he said that he had an active one out. He made you an offer.
He did. He wanted Brandon Ayuk. I'm not trading a flex level player for a fantasy defense when I have Pittsburgh's defense.
Then why are you bitching?
Because I wanted them, but not at that cost. I was going to give him one of my bench players, who, by the way, all put up double digits.
Does it look like he needs bench players? No, he is.
Yes, he does.
His whole team is bench players, Sean. He needs starters. Give him a flex level guy.
Listen, my bench players are his starters. My bench players would be
Brandon
his
Ayuk
studs.
right now on your bench. Make the trade.
He's on
That's
bye.
not a terrible offer. I'm just saying.
It's not terrible, but it's not
Ayuk
worth it.
Again,
when I have
he's
the
a
Steelers
low-end
defense.
flex guy.
If he was willing to make the trade for one of my other bench players, like, I don't know,
he's not going to give it away for
nothing.
nothing.
Here's the thing: I would have done it for Cole Beasley, who, by the way, put up 22. Now I'm not going to do it.
Why not? Throw out the offer. Cole Beasley's on a bye this week. You don't need him.
Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, so moving on, it's obviously McMillan who wins.
Yeah, McMillan. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously who I'm.
This is the only matchup that really doesn't have a lot of playoff implication to it. It's more of a Sacco seeding bowl.
Yeah. Also, Brad, can you do me a favor? Just pretend to set your lineup at least, because every week you do this. You wait till Sunday morning, and we can't do anything with this. Obviously, you're not starting Stephon Diggs. I mean, I guess we can kind of do the math here. Josh Kelly probably comes out for Todd Gurley.
Sure, he's not going to start Joe Mixon?
CeeDee Lamb probably goes in. Mixon might go in for Tannehill. I'm sorry, I can't talk. CeeDee Lamb goes in. Burrow almost certainly goes in for Tannehill.
Wait, doesn't Burrow go in for Goddard?
I mean, apparently, wait, yeah. Quarterbacks play tight end now. Yeah. So,
no, I mean,
obviously, I'm picking it. Like, it's weird to confidently pick Alex.
But yeah.
But he got 17 out of Tyler Lockett.
Brad needs to get things together because aside like there's a legitimate case you could make that he's maybe Sacco worthy.
I mean, it's obviously there. He's sitting in 8th and he's like 9th in points scored.
Right, like and
are these the 2 bottom scorers in the league?
Let me see.
I'm pretty sure they are.
Survey says no.
Ooh, Brad just edging out Jason.
30 points.
All right.
And to be fair, I can't talk too much shit because Brad's only 60 points below me. So,
yeah.
But
60 points over 10 games. But God, it's so weird to feel like Alex's team is just like for sure going to win when he's averaging 97 a game.
Well, it helps that his team really, I think he's got some good matchups this week. I know one of the big things was he obviously got off to a good start. Oh, shoot, I went the wrong one. Tyler Lockett putting up 17. He didn't flame out. Juju has kind of, I think, found new form lately.
Yeah. Juju was a little weak early on in the year.
Yeah. Didn't Ronald Jones also have benefit from a?
He had like 25 this week.
He had a 98. I talked shit about him in the last podcast.
It was like a
98-yard touchdown run. Fuck you. So yeah,
he had more in that one run than he's projected this week.
Matt Ryan against New Orleans. I mean, I don't know if they're going to throw the ball that much, but
it's one of those things where they're normally in a shootout
right.
because their defense is so bad.
Right.
But again, it's Taysom Hill starting at quarterback.
Yeah.
Who knows
or tight end, depending on your perspective.
Exactly. So who knows exactly how good the Saints offense is going to be?
We got one more Taysom Hill mention out of this. That was worth it. Next matchup. This is your matchup, and again, playoff implications not only for Window but for yourself.
I mean, a big thing comes down to how the vote goes tonight on whether or not he ends up in the flex or the tight end spot.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: if it's a flex, I don't think Window starts him in the flex.
I would.
I mean, maybe he does. I'm not saying he doesn't. Maybe he does. He has him in a situation that maybe he does. If he does not play him in his tight end spot, I am picking me. If he ends up getting to play him in the tight end spot, I'm picking him.
Fair.
I mean, it's pretty fucking close. Right now, he's getting 18 points out of the tight end spot, and he's projected to win by 9. That's kind of where I'm at with it. If Taysom Hill does not end up in the tight end spot, I'm picking myself. If he does, Window gets a win. Good for him.
I think it's going to be close. I think one of the big factors that's going to play in here is what does Mike Davis do, right?
He's not looked as good in the last couple of weeks.
But Detroit doesn't necessarily have a great defense.
No.
But I feel like they mainly get butchered by the pass. I feel like they're a little better maybe against the run.
Sure.
They don't have a great defense by any stretch. Kalen Ballage also if Window does the thing that hurts you, like you said, and why he probably will win, not only because of Taysom Hill being a quarterback at tight end, but also if Taysom Hill can play at the tight end, Kalen Ballage is a pretty good flex play. He looked good against Miami, playing against the Jets, who are not a great team. Chargers defense also going up against the Jets, who are one of the worst offenses I think in the league this year. It's a coin flip if Taysom Hill's at the flex. Let me look at your matchups. Aaron Jones and Indy. Miles Sanders. Cleveland's run D is pretty good.
He gets all the touches. My big matchups is Keenan Allen versus the Jets. Chase Claypool
They pull against the
Jags.
Jaguars. I'm gonna give Window the nod, and only because I
feel like it's close either
way.
way.
I feel like it's close either way. And that 14 doesn't hurt his cause of Kenyon Drake, because I thought he was probably the most likely player on that team to drop a dud. Last matchup, Daryl and Nick. against Zach. You said you're rooting for Zach.
I'm rooting for Zach.
And right now, Zach is projected to barely win.
Yeah, I don't love... Like, I love Travis Kelce against Vegas, especially because, like, apparently half of Vegas' defense is on the code list.
Seriously?
Yeah. But, like, I don't love Robert Woods against Tampa Bay. Kansas City against Philadelphia is okay. Or, sorry, Kareem Hunt against Philadelphia is okay. Josh Jacobs against Kansas City I do not like.
Yeah.
Like, Kansas City's defense is pretty solid.
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder's playing this week. It seems like every week that it's like he only plays like half the time, but when he does play, he seems great.
Yeah.
Can you go back to that real quick?
Yeah, they said that we were glitched. I don't know why. Let's see if it's fixed.
Oh, looks smooth on our end.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So wait, did you pick?
I
mean,
I think it's close either way, because again, it's who ends up with more, Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt? That's a coin toss.
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, Kyler Murray only had 20. Also,
This is such an interesting
tight end position
on
is
paper.
just so dominant for Zach.
But this is so interesting on paper because
Vikings get Dallas D.
one of the most interesting parts about this matchup to watch is going to be if they're watching these games, you can watch the Cleveland-Philly game for Nick Chubb versus Kareem Hunt, a committee, like two players on the same team. And you can watch on Monday night Rams at Tampa Bay and see Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods,
yeah.
two players on the same team.
It's so much like
who's the guy?
Yeah, who's the guy on your team?
Who has the big day?
Yeah.
That's so. I love these kind of matchups in fantasy.
It's like I said, it's obviously really close. I think I'm gonna give the slight nod to Zach. Cooper Kupp against Tampa, it's another tough defense.
For me, the difference is the flex spot. I'm not a big fan of Jamison Crowder.
He's been really good when he's played.
He has. I agree.
Like,
but Antonio Gibson is like Washington is just.
When he's played,
he's had great games. I'm not doubting it, but he's also had 3 touchdowns this year. He has had a fair share of targets.
I mean, he's the offense.
In the New England game, he only had 2.
I mean, New England is New England.
You went out there?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Oh, I saw you had your purse.
All right, let's.
Anyway, sorry, focus.
It's New England.
Thought you were going to the bars.
It's New England. I think Jamison Crowder's the team. The Chargers defense is not the New England defense, even though New England's defense isn't what it normally is. Bill Belichick is Bill Belichick.
I'm going Daryl.
I understand. Like I said, I think it's really
close. It's
close.
A coin flip.
It's really close.
I think Antonio Gibson for me is the difference maker. I also think Vikings defense against Dallas's anemic offense.
So they looked a lot better with Garrett Gilbert. And that was against the Steelers.
Yeah.
They looked good.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, look, you have a NFL level quarterback, and all of a sudden your team doesn't look like it. It's playing college ball. What is his name? Ben DiNucci.
Yeah.
Who played for JMU. It was like.
Or Andy Dalton.
I mean, I expected more out of Andy Dalton, but again, he played what? Excuse me. He played like a game and a half and then got
injured. Yeah.
No, I don't even think he played like a whole game. He played like the half with when Dak went out, and then he played a half and got concussed.
Also, just as an aside, I would be surprised if Zach didn't make some moves for some wide receivers because Devontae Parker and Mike Williams both on his bench right now. He has, it seems like 5.
But where does he need to upgrade? What do you think he can get?
Probably not much. Maybe a decent defense.
I mean, let's just say I think Zach's team is kind of set in the fact that he knows he's starting Josh Jacobs. He knows he's starting Kareem Hunt. He knows he's starting Robert Woods. He knows he's starting.
You said, maybe a quarterback.
With Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen.
No, he pretty much has a bunch of set it and forget it guys, and then he needs to pick his.
That's the team I want.
I know.
All right. Did the podcast in under an hour. We don't always do that. Hope you enjoyed it. Please vote in the poll. We'll go to the chat one more time. No one said anything other than Window and McMillan, who are our gold stars for the day. Shout out to Jason McMillan. Shout out to Window for watching the podcast. Thank you, boys, for doing so. And Nick.
We got another vote.
Birchak.
Nick Birchak jumped in?
Nick Birchak, our old rhythm guitarist from Amber Rift, jumps in the chat. Actually, it's probably Alex on his account, I bet. Yeah, I bet $20 that's Alex. Sean, check your phone at the end of the podcast. I bet Windows.
So we do have another vote in on the poll. A surprise vote, in my opinion.
Wow. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
a surprise vote there.
So I need to call you now, and don't let you leave because he wants to pitch me something first.
Okay.
So I'm gonna call you in a second, Window.
Do you want to do this live on the podcast?
Do you want to, Window? Answer in the chat if you want to be live on the podcast. If you say no, or I'm sorry, if you don't say anything, I'm gonna assume you want it to be live on the podcast. I'm kidding.
How delayed do you think we are?
I think we're pretty instantaneous. This will be a good test to find out.
I mean, I figured there was some type
But
of
like,
delay.
when I typed "Are we still glitched?" we got an instant response saying nope. Window might have also turned it off.
Ooh. Can we see if anybody's in the thing right now?
Shout out to Alex. I don't think there's a way to like see who's watching you.
Oh no, Window just sent that.
No, he sent that, and then I messaged. Is anyone watching still? We're still here.
All right, just call him.
All right.
Just call him. We can end the podcast.
All right, we're ending the podcast. Goodbye, Dix. Vote on the poll. Good luck in your matchups, I guess.